Welcome to episode 326 of the Working Fans Podcast, where today Dave and we're going to be talking about John Cena, Chris Jericho, Bailey, some Patreon talk that I don't even know what it's going to be yet because we didn't write it down. But please, if you enjoy what we do and you want to sign up for our Patreon, go over to patreon.com/workingfanspodcast. For the month of December, we are giving out free 2-month subscriptions to our Patreon. The link of that will be in the description. If you're just watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit that notification bell, hit that subscriber so we can get up to 5,000. And Dave, a lot of news this week. We're going to get right into it. You know, Chris Jericho, there's been a lot of talk. Is he leaving AEW? You know, will he be going somewhere else?
Yeah.
What are you feeling about this? Where do you think he'll end up?
And AJ Styles kind of had, I guess, a while back where he said he'd end up in TNA. And I thought, does TNA have the budget, blah, blah, blah. But with TNA working so closely with WWE and with WWE, you know, working with AAA and other promotions, and Jericho really likes, it seems like, creatively going to different promotions and going to different countries like Mexico, Japan. And with TNA going to be on American Movie Classic, the AMC, I feel like TNA's got a dark horse chance here because I was looking at Jericho's contract and apparently he filed an extension and it ends in December of this year. So at some point here, so that January 15th live edition of TNA, hey, maybe he signs with WWE. Maybe he surprises all and goes back to AEW. With Jericho, I would say you never really know. He's probably creating a buzz and going to do something with the most impact, no pun intended. I guess maybe I'd like to see him on TNA too. That first episode, January 15th, AMC live 2 days before their, I think it's TNA Resolution show, which is just now announced it's going to be Mike Santana against Frankie Kazarian for the championship in a rematch. I don't know. I'd love to see Jericho involved with TNA right now.
Honestly, I could see any possibility playing out. I could see him staying in AEW and saying this was just all a big story.
Absolutely.
You know, I could see him going to TNA, a company he hasn't been in yet, blazing that new ground. And being in TNA doesn't exclude him from popping up in the Royal Rumble still. We're still doing stuff in WWE.
Exactly.
And I can always see him going back to WWE. And, you know, there's so many retirements lately. I can see him going back for that retirement. So anything really is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I really wouldn't mind any of them. AEW a little less, just because to me, he's felt slightly stale there.
I think most people feel that way. I know there's a friend, Jake St. John, on the show. I think he feels the opposite. Like he wants to see Jericho stay in AEW and felt it'd be weird without him. But most people I've seen kind of would think that Jericho has run its course in AEW, that he's been there for several years now. He's wrestled all the top guys. He's done stuff with Ring of Honor. And I felt like a lot of the hardcore fans in AEW kind of turned on him at one point and basically telling him, you know, get off the channel. And I think that, I'd like to see him somewhere else personally, whether it's WWE or TNA or wherever. I just think I'd like to see Jericho out there doing something else right now.
I think the thing that hurt Jericho in AEW particularly was just that last gimmick he did, where it was the first thing it felt like that he ever did that fell flat on its face. I'm sure other things have, but like looking back over the course of his career, nothing stands out quite like that learning tree. I mean, he got over Big Bill more than I thought any of us thought he could. You know, he kind of maybe brought down Brian Keith a little bit. So it was kind of a mixed bag. We'd never had that with Jericho before. So kind of seeing all these possibilities now and the buzz for it is amazing. And you want to speak about buzz. I heard this last week about the conference that Bailey had where she got all these women's wrestlers together. She brought in big stars to train with them. Notably, Izzy was there. She got to get in the ring with Bailey. And it's good to see, first off, just such a monumental thing being done for women's wrestling. And the fact that Bailey's doing it on her own dime to, you know, progress that division in wrestling is huge, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, and just to see that kind of support amongst women, you know, in the entertainment and athletic field is very interesting, because I think that's something people complain about too sometimes, and bring up that, maybe there's not enough support, amongst women supporting themselves in this type of endeavor. And here you see Bayley, and that's exactly what she's doing. So super cool. God, I'm blanking out on the name, but there's a lady who wrestles for the NWA who was part of this. And I know that she's been trained like with Lou and Cindy and stuff at OWR. And they were talking about, they had promoted her on Facebook like before all this and stuff about her wrestling daughter and how she's doing great out there. And she was actually at this too.
Oh, wow. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good to know. That's where some of this pre-show prep is biting us in the ass. Hopefully this doesn't happen when we get on the mic for New Heights Wrestling.
I thought you put this on there because you knew the name.
I wish I knew the name. No, I put this on there because I had seen, rumblings on social media of it last week. And it was one of those things that I wonder if it was going to get like bigger coverage inside the wrestling world because, women's wrestling, it's come so far from being a sideshow with the little people and all that to now, even in WWE in the last 10 years, the women's revolution has made it a bigger thing. And the fact that a product of the WWE environment would hold her own camp and try and inspire that many more women, a lot of them on the independents coming up where women's divisions can be hit or miss. I thought it was monumental and it would be worth talking about, even though I looked nothing about it up past what I saw.
Wow.
And I see Dave looking it up.
I was just trying to see if I could find the name of the young lady that does wrestle for NWA, and she's doing some stuff she was at this event, and she has done some stuff with Lou and Cindy. He maybe had a hand in training her, or maybe just worked with her in the past. But nonetheless, I don't
shout out Outcast Wrestling Revolution,
helping people.
Shout out New Heights Wrestling. Their episode featuring their women's division just came out last night. I believe it's episode 3. That's on the New Heights Wrestling YouTube channel. You'll see myself and Dave. All right, we're moving on from Bayley's conference to we're not quite at John Cena's last match, but we are going to talk a little bit about John Cena because this Saturday night, it all comes to an end. It feels like the end of an era, and I think what makes it stand out is not a lot of wrestlers retire. Now, right. We don't know for sure if Cena is not going to do something after this, but he's been pretty clear. He's wanted this to be a retirement that stands out in the wrestling world, just as John Cena has kind of stood out in the wrestling world over the course of his career.
Yeah, I think this is it. John is going full on into movies. He's doing well as an actor. He's really getting some great range now. It seems like as an actor, and people are really appreciating his work more. It's because he's putting so much work into it. You can tell John has always liked being different. That's, I think, what sticks out about him. He's a very genuine guy, it seems like. So I think this will be a true retirement of a guy who has been on top for a very, very long time consistently. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interviews out there with John Cena right now. Before this, one of them I watched was with Joe Rogan, which was just a great interview. It's just John and Joe opening up, talking about, success for John and how a lot of this sometimes was just accidents that happened, and he happened to be in the right place, right time, and being able to make the most of it in those situations. John's a very interesting guy. I'm going to try to catch some more of these interviews because John's one of those guys that if you listen to, like, not John Cena the character, but John Cena like out of the ring, he just comes off like a guy that's like, I find him very motivating. He's a type of motivating person to listen to. So John, as a character, was not always my guy, because it just was one of those things that I got old. It got kind of stale for me after a while. I felt Vince was pushing him down our throats, I felt like he was trying to be like The Rock at times. That's what it felt like, But over a period of time, especially going back when John was doing that U.S. Championship Open Challenge, like John really started to win me over. And John throughout the years really showed that, he could cut promos, and I have nothing but respect for John Cena. So, Yeah, maybe before Peacock takes all their old stuff off the library, I'll go look up some old John Cena matches.
Yeah, I missed a lot of John Cena because the majority of the time that he was on top, I wasn't watching. When I came back, it was kind of the tail end. Not the tail end, but like the latter years of him actually being on top and then getting to see him be this elder statesman. I got to see him live wrestle Kevin Owens, like right after Kevin Owens' debut at Money in the Bank in 2015. That was huge. That was a great rivalry because of, how into John Cena Kevin Owens' son was and the fact that Kevin was able to wrestle him. The character, obviously iconic. I was listening to, I believe it was Post Wrestling, where I want to say Thurston and Pollock, where they were talking about how long Cena was at the top of WWE. And he was one of the longer reigns as a top guy, like right up there with Bruno. And I think when you look at your Mount Rushmore of WWE over the years, Cena has to be a face you put over there. A lot of people have booed him. It became the point where the kids would be chanting, "Let's go Cena." The adult men would be cheering Cena sucks. But those same people that are cheering Cena sucks will probably be watching Saturday and making time to watch. I can't wait to hear the numbers on, what viewership for this event possibly is.
It'd be interesting just because the time period of it, just on Peacock, so much wrestling right now, the holidays. You'd think it's kind of in a tough spot, but it is John Cena, and it's John Cena's last match. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. Recommendations for John Cena last matches, I would check out anything to do with him and Edge, CM Punk, especially CM Punk in Money in the Bank. I want to say it's 2011, John Cena, CM Punk, Money in the Bank. Just look it up. You'll find it. And maybe some of those U.S. Open challenges. Go back and watch some of the ones he had on TV with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. All really good stuff and some of the better stuff. I will add just one more thing. I saw a clip from an interview that John Cena did recently. I think it's the one with Tom Rinaldi that's coming out, where he talked about taking things to heart. And one of them was, you can't wrestle. And he talked about, I think, working with Kevin Owens and saying that, he'd go up to him and say, okay, what can we do in this match that's different? What can I add here? And what can I do this? I think that says a lot about somebody when you take criticism and you apply it to make yourself better. I think that's something we could all learn from.
Yeah, especially when you don't have to, because especially with Cena, he was a top guy and he got that 5 moves of doom mark put on him. But when you think about it too, Hogan had that. If you go back to Bruno, he probably had 4 moves, but those 4 moves were devastating. So I think it's the mark of a top guy to not be known for a ton of moves, because like at that point, you don't need to do a lot to get the crowd going. But the real insiders, the real people that want to pick you apart will look at stuff like that and criticize. And that was our talk of John Cena. Like, I think we might have had a little more to say about him if he had been, somebody that was coming up when we were younger. I can't wait to talk about this Saturday night's main event card. The opponent was finally revealed this week as being Gunther. We all thought it was him, but there are a ton of good matches on this, even more getting added. Dave, let's run down this card. Let's make some predictions here.
All right. Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, versus the NXT champion, Oba Femi. Oba Femi comes back, regains the NXT championship this past weekend over Ricky Saints. Successfully defended against Javon Evans, who was going to be originally a New Year's Evil match. Now he's got another match coming up. So Oba's got a lot of momentum. I mean, it would be a shock the world type moment if Oba won, but I just don't see that happening. I'm going to go Cody.
I'm going the opposite. I feel like Oba is going to get the win. It's going to give him that big exposure on this stage. He's going to lose that NXT championship, and he's going to be up on the main roster sooner than later.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. See, I disagree with you, but I'm going to say what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Oba do what Brody Lee did. Where I remember Brody Lee first came, and he just beat up Cody Rhodes and just took the TNT championship. And it was like Cody didn't even get into offense and Cody come back. I'd love to see Oba do that, and then even keep the NXT title on for a little while and just build up Oba more and more and more, and then maybe see where it go. That's a thought. I I don't think they do it because my next prediction here, Bailey, Sol, Ruka. I think we are going to need someone to pull off the upset. And I think Sol is going to be the one who does the upset here. I got Sol over Bailey.
Yeah, part of this is kind of inspired by Bailey's conference about, building up women. I feel like, I don't know how many people that watch Raw and SmackDown have seen Sol Ruka, and I think they're going to be blown away by her athleticism. And what better way to put her over for that audience than, having her beat Bailey. So I feel like she's getting the win as well.
AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater. This will be a fantastic match. Maybe match of the night in terms of just excitement. But I got to go with Styles and Dragon Lee. I think Javon and Leon will make a go of it, but I just don't think they'll put them over yet.
I want to pick Javon and Leon Slater so bad for this. That's who I want to win. But I've picked so many other NXT people, and it can't be an NXT sweep.
No.
Plus, it's going to be an athletic match either way. This match is going to steal the show, and AJ and Dragon Lee are going to get that win.
Retirement match. John Cena versus Gunther. And I'll give you some stuff I heard on Wrestling Observer from Brian Alvarez. Apparently, as of now, there is no runtime on this show, meaning it can finish whenever. And the rumor is that John Cena and Gunther are going to actually start the show. So John will get as much time as he needs to do the match and say whatever, and then the rest of the show. Says it's probably still going to go maybe 2.5 hours, but expect, the whole show, but expect Cena to do what he needs to do. And I think that's really cool if that is what's going to happen here. So that being said, God, this is tough for me because a lot of people have been actually saying that Cena's probably going to win his last match. And Alvarez had a prediction that John will actually make Gunther tap. Lance Storm predicted Gunther would win, and then Miz was going to come out because he's been making so much noise, something like that, and then try to rub it in Cena's face, and then Cena will probably end up in an impromptu match, tap him out. Everybody will go home happy, like Gunther win. So there's a lot of what ifs here. What could that? I'm going to say Gunther wins this. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Gunther wins this, possibly makes Cena tap out, or maybe Cena passes out, doesn't give up, and that's part of it, But, yeah, I think Gunther gets the W here.
Yeah, I see Gunther getting the win. It's kind of funny. It almost seems like they've learned from the Goldberg thing, or they're showing that what happened to Goldberg definitely won't happen here. I think with Goldberg, they were, messing around with NBC, too, at the time, so They had time frame issues, but Cena's retirement is not going to get cut off. This is going to be a huge moment. It's going to be celebrated properly. And I think that's what's going to make Saturday night so major. I heard Jesse Ventura is going to be there as well.
Hey, that's cool. Love it.
A lot of interesting stuff going on this week.
I actually heard there's going to be a new look for it, by the way, too. For Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard that somewhere recently. So, yeah, there you go. That news sources, folks. I heard that somewhere recently.
It's not bad because I think when the first few episodes, you can have that nostalgia feel. Yeah. But that same nostalgia feel has been on every episode, and it's kind of felt not, I don't know how to, the charm has worn off a little bit. It's still cool to see, but it's like if it's going to be every so often, almost why not give it a different feel?
Right.
Especially if you're going to keep it around. But guys, that's episode 326 for us this week. We kept it a little short because I know Dave and I, we've been doing a little more real lifing lately. And, it's kind of put back the wrestling watching and talking a little bit. If you want more wrestling talk, wait till after the commercial and you'll get some bonus Patreon talk. So let's let Vinny Berry tell you what's up.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harrison, Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville. It's where wrestling lives.